So Bob, 100 things to do in Rhode Island. Who knew Rhode Island had 100 things to do? I mean, this book is just jam-packed. First and foremost, I mean, why did you choose to write this exact book? What inspired you to do this?
I didn't grow up here. I grew up in New York, but I've been here about 30 years. And it's kind of the same reaction you just had, right? I mean, you figure a small state, there's not that much to do, whatever. Once you start wandering around this place a little bit, you find that there's so much history, so many quirky things, pizza strips, Dell's Lemonade, there's a lot of cool food, a lot of cool local culture. So yeah, I mean, it just ended up being a real journey of exploration for me. And I mean, 100 things were a snap, really, to get 100. I could have done 200. So there's lots to do here in Rhode Island.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, I mean, as somebody who's traveled all over the world, okay, I mean, what is it that Rhode Island has that's so unique and so different from everywhere else, in Bob Curley's words?
One of the things I always tell people, I do write a lot about the Caribbean, and you go down there and there's an island mentality, and everybody knows everybody, and even though Rhode Island's not an island, it has that same mentality where really, if you grow up here, it's like 2 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
But people, one thing about Rhode Island, and especially coming from New York, coming from Long Island where I grew up, like everything's just been paved over. I mean, the history, you can't find it. Here, people cherish it. People don't. You got buildings from the 1600s here. People fall in love with their local restaurants, and so they stay around forever. One of the things I found when I wrote the book was Hartley's pork pies up in Lincoln, which has been there forever. So I'm still, even though I've written about Rhode Island for 20 plus years, I'm still finding new and cool stuff. So I mean, one of the things about the book is you've got some stuff in there that's your typical tourist stuff, like Mohegan Bluffs or Waterfire. Going to the Newport mansions in the wintertime. But I tried to do, stuff that really kind of appealed to me. So like Block Island, for example, riding horses on the beach. There's a rustic ride stables out there on the other side of the island, the quiet side of the island. So that's in there. And the other one is looking for the glass orbs in the summertime. There's an artist named Eben Horton who every summer basically blows a bunch of glass balls and hides them along the trail, the Nature Conservancy trails out there, and it's like people just flock out there to find them, and then over the course of the summer he replenishes them a few times, and it's just kind of one of those cool local things, gets people out on the trails, raises awareness of conservation. So that kind of stuff really appeals to me.
Bob, what's your favorite overall thing? It doesn't even have to be a secret place, it could be a thing about Rhode Island. What is your absolute favorite?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's really hard to narrow it down, right? I mean, I've got some. I'll shoot a few of them at you. I mean, so the book is broken down by categories. So there's shopping, there's food, there's activities, all that stuff. So New York system wieners is for food. I mean, I think that's kind of a fun. That's an experience everybody should have. I mean, don't forget there's a bucket list book. So the idea is to do, is to give people a list of all the things, like you want your real Rhode Island cred. These are the things you should do. Savoy Bookstore I always mention, not only because they sell my book, but it's just this beautiful kind of Harry Potter-esque bookstore down in Westerly. I mean, I could spend all day in that place. It's gorgeous. Roger Williams Zoo, I think, is another one, particularly, when there's, the pumpkin spectacular, the jack-o'-lantern spectacular at Halloween, I think is great. I mean, I wrote another story recently about all the islands of Narragansett Bay. And one of the things that's in the book is going out to Prudence Island. If you've never done that, you can take the ferry over from Bristol, and that's something not a lot of people have done, but the rest of the islands are just, people kind of forget about, unless you're a boater, you don't really even think about it. Fishing for stripers is another thing in the book. Again, or cohogging is another one for, if you really want to kind of get into local culture. Those are two big things to do.